Okay. Oh, don't hit the mic. The mic is the wrong place. Oh. All right. Coffee for the soul. Now, I have to admit that I haven't had my full cup of coffee. It's like down to here maybe. So we'll see how this goes. Hey everyone, welcome to MTB Over 40. My name is Bobby. Thanks for checking out the video. This one is going to be a little different. We're going to visit my chiropractor, Dr. Kyle Webb, at Cirlcle Chiropractic in Nolensville, Tennessee, which is just south of Nashville. And he's been my chiropractor for 3 years now. And so he was my chiropractor before I was mountain biking, and he still is today. And I've learned a ton from him about not just my overall body and health and things off the bike, but even on the bike and what I should be doing. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I deal with some ham numbness, and so he's been helping me doing some exercises and stretches and things to help mitigate that, and that's been helping. And so since I've learned a lot, I wanted to share that information with you guys. Whether you go to a chiropractor or not, I think you're going to learn a lot from this. Now, I should preface, we had a ton of technical problems with this video. I mean, almost everything that could go wrong did. And so it's probably not the quality that I'm used to presenting. So I apologize ahead of time. But I thought the information was that important. And so I wanted to make sure it got out there. Some of the reasons were, I mean, it was just crazy. His Dr. Kyle's mic was just messing up like crazy during the interview and during the stretching exercises. So we ended up using the onboard camera mic for the interview, and I tried to clean that up as best as I could. We ended up having to re-record the stretching altogether because of the mic issue, so we redid that. Also, the camera, the iris on the camera, for some reason was set to auto. I have no idea. I never set my camera iris to auto. It was set to there, so a lot of the wide camera angle was, the lighting was just going up and down. So I tried to limit in the edit that happening, but sometimes I just had to use it. All that said, I apologize. It's not the quality I would like to present to you, but the information I think is great. All that said, hope it helps you. You know, for those of us who are a little older in age, it's more important now to take care of ourselves on and off the bike. So especially for you guys, but no matter what age you are, whether you go to a chiropractor or not, I think this is going to be great information for you. And so let's get to it. So why in general, why is chiropractic important?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I probably get that more times than not when I'm out and about. You know, why is chiropractic good? And really the short answer is, if you want to enjoy moving and staying active and trying to live a pain-free life, chiropractic is going to be great for you. It's going to help not only with the bones and the joints, but it's going to help maintain balance within the muscle and within the neurology of the body, which is what controls the body. So it's a complex thing that we have in our body, but if we take care of it with proper alignment and maintenance, then we're going to be able to do all the things that we want to do, mountain biking included. So
yeah, because I mean it's not just the health of your spine in a physical sense, but there's so many things that factor into the wellness. I mean, even your digestive system, your nervous system, all these things kind of, since all that flows from the brain and everything flows through the spine, it really is a kind of it's more than just a physical, hey, I just got some pain on my back.
Right, yeah. I agree. I think most of the time whenever I'm seeing a new patient and they come in and we go through a history and a consultation, we want to find out why did they come? How can we help them? What are their goals? And if they say, well, I just need to get out of pain. I have a lot of back pain, and we can offer relief. That's great. Relief is one of the most amazing things about chiropractic, and people get it fast and natural. However, I think I would be doing the patient and this profession a bad misservice if we only address pain And I think that's where I can go in and really educate our patients on the importance of keeping their body in check and listening to their body when it tells them things, right? So you made a good point about the digestive system and the nervous system, and yeah, our body basically is run by the brain and the spinal cord and all the nerves that come out. So that includes going to your muscles, includes going to the joints, includes going to all your organs, and it relies on that feedback. It's a kind of a two-way street where the body is sending information to the brain to kind of check in and say, hey, this is how we're doing, and then the brain is sending feedback and directions back to the body. And so yeah, it's extremely important to maintain balance, or what we call homeostasis. And so that's what I work with patients on, is just trying to get to the root cause of their issue, or how can we help optimize whatever facet of their life that they need, whether it be sports performance or just general health and wellness, or sometimes we have to dive in and get a little deeper on a nutritional aspect. And heal the gut and do some different protocols through nutrition to get them going. And so yeah, pain is usually what brings people in, but by the time they're done with their care plan, my ultimate goal is to really educate them on how they can maintain their health, and what are the different aspects of their daily life that impacts their overall health. And chiropractic and the adjustment is obviously forefront and the most important therapy or treatment that we do here. But we always want to add in some exercise or stretching and rehab, and there's a lot of different modalities that we use here to get people better. But yeah, in the short, chiropractic is not only for pain, and in fact, I see even kids and children and babies and obviously they're not in a lot of pain or any pain at all, but we're just keeping them balanced and keeping their nervous system healthy so they can develop well. So
I told you in one of my other visits that I was at at a trailhead and hearing other guys talking about going to the chiropractor and how important it was to them, and these guys were like in their 20s.
Right.
So talk a little bit about why is chiropractic even more important for guys like that are guys, girls, everybody that's riding bikes and doing trail rides.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's such a good question. And he brought up a good point, right? Is we tend as a society to not really do much about our health until we're getting into those later years, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, right? When all of that fun stuff of our youth starts coming back to haunt us, right? we used to think, young, 10-foot tall, bulletproof, yeah. And what we're finding now is, I think honestly, with technology, it's allowing younger generations to see what is available and what is out there, and they're seeing the benefits of taking care of themselves a little bit more. Maybe they have an older sibling or an uncle or a cousin or a father who is very active in sports or hobbies, and especially mountain biking. It's a very adrenaline based sport. It's full body, and it requires so much demand on your neuromusculoskeletal system. And so I'm seeing these, like you said, these younger generations in their 20s, they're thinking, oh man, I'm hurting myself. What's the best, easiest way to get over this micro injury or major injury, and then how can I transition back into my sport or back on the trail, so to speak, and how can we do that efficiently, effectively, from a cost perspective and a time perspective, and not having a lot of side effects. Let's say, for example, you tweak a back, sprain a joint or strain a muscle, you go to your MD, they give you a muscle relaxer or maybe some anti-inflammatories. That's probably not the best thing you want to be on when you're out on a trail, and your body demands hyper focus.
Yeah.
Whereas chiropractic, we can actually address these things from a physical perspective and get them back out as soon as possible. So I think as we get older in life, in those 30s, 40s, and 50s, and we're just maybe now starting into like a very high demand sport like mountain biking. I think it's even more crucial that you listen to your body and that you at least get a checkup and kind of get a baseline and say, I'm not really having pain, but I'd just like to know where I'm at from a posture perspective, my alignment, my muscles, neurologic assessment, like where am I at? What's a baseline? And what are some things that maybe I need to look out for if I'm going to be going out and hitting the trail and really putting my body through some good challenges.
As a rider, whether they're getting started or already mountain biking and they don't feel pain, like what are some things they should look for, or what should they do first when they start thinking about, well, maybe I should get a head start on this?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think a lot of people are probably thinking that when they're starting anything new, especially mountain biking, when it does take so much demand on your body and every aspect, I think you just have to look at it and kind of break it down into two different categories. Are you someone who has had chronic injuries in your past, in your younger years? Have you had previous surgeries? Do you have different nutritional deficiencies, like that you may be borderline anemic, or have a low iron count, or all these different things can play into this, right? And so you can be someone who has these issues and has current pain, or you have the other category that would be someone who, like you said, is not experiencing any pain or symptoms. They just know whenever they're starting into something, they should probably make sure everything is okay first, right? It's kind of like when you were younger and you wanted to play sports, you had to go get a physical, and the sports physical was like, you had to have it.
Yeah.
Your parents had to sign off, and they did it more from a liability standpoint,
Sure.
I think. But at the same time, it's important for those kids to pass a basic level of assessment before they can go into something that is sport specific.
Right.
The same thing applies for mountain biking. I think if you're starting off and you want to know a baseline, come on in, or just get checked out in general with your local chiropractor, and find someone who has experience working with sport related injuries or just athletes in general. And I think that's a good place to start, is just getting a good assessment, and then sitting down with the chiropractor and setting out some goals. What are your goals? I mean, if you're not in pain, then you and your chiropractor will be able to sit down and go through a treatment plan that will have performance goals as kind of the priority. How can we make sure that these muscles are working correctly, the spine is staying in alignment, all these things that you need. Okay, just like you don't want to be going into a jump in your gear, in the wrong gear, and something be off.
Right.
You don't want to go into that day riding on the trail after you got done moving, 3 refrigerators and a washer and dryer and all these things, and you've got a bit stoved up and kinked up in your back. You have to be able to assess that in a way, and maybe that's something we can talk about more in a bit. Is just where to go from like a pre-assessment, maybe pre-ride mobility type thing. But I think to sum it up and answer your question really fully, I think you just have to put yourself in one of those two categories. Or do you have pain and symptoms and chronic things that we need to address first, and get cleared to ride, or maybe at least things to watch out for when you ride, and then someone who maybe in the other category who's just really focused on performance and prevention.
okay, well, let's go to the other side and say, okay, someone who's been riding
Yeah.
and they're starting to feel stuff,
Right.
and you know, they're not sure where it's coming from, or maybe after a ride they just having a lot of pain after a ride.
Right.
I know we talked about that. With me, I started having a lot of pain in my thighs, you know, after a ride. And the thing that helped me was, you know, you said, okay, some fish oil, take some fish oil, you know, every day,
Mm-hmm.
and then get you said either the roller or what was the other balls?
Massage. You have a massage stick,
Massage stick,
foam roller, and then maybe a lacrosse ball.
lacrosse ball, that's the other thing. So I didn't have a lacrosse ball, so I started doing the foam roller and just, you know, I'd lay on the roller and just move up and down, and I did that after every ride, done. I have not had any pain since. So it's like, so, you know, but, you know, some people might not know, like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, I don't know where it's coming from, or, you know, my shoulder's stiff, or I have pain all up and down the back. Like, what, talk about how you should listen to your body when you start to have some of those pains.
Yeah, I think that's probably the $1 million question, right?
Right.
You know, what's going on when I'm having these symptoms? And the short answer is that something is off balance, something is out of position, out of place, something is not working together correctly, right? And then that would be the time to just get an assessment, right? Get an examination, possibly some X-rays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that way we can confirm any type of orthopedic testing. We can confirm that with the X-rays for a diagnosis, and then from there we go on to a treatment plan. But a long answer is that, well, pain is just a symptom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not a really good indicator of overall health or status. You can have pain in your shoulder, and I see this all the time, whether it be from mountain bike riders, road cyclists, CrossFit athletes, people who are just, you know, like maybe pitchers. So shoulder issues are really, you know, a very common thing. But how many times have I found that the problem in itself is in the shoulder joint? Very few. It's usually things that surround the shoulder joint, and they're referring pain into that area based on a certain movement that they do. So, you know, I think for someone out there who maybe gets done with a ride and they're like, man, I'm really sore and beat up the next day, you know, kind of think about and kind of play it back in your mind. Okay, did this start maybe after I, you know, hit a couple jumps? How was my landing? Am I standing up more when I'm pedaling and grinding down, or am I sitting back more? And, you know, posture is part of that. But then you also have to add into the mix, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis? You know, what is your normal activity throughout the day? If you're sitting at a computer all day, 6 to 8 hours, and then boom, you're going straight out and hitting the course or hitting the trail, and you're just giving it everything you got, then you're going from like one extreme to the other. And so you have to make sure that you're doing a proper warm-up, a proper cool-down, and then making sure that your nutrition is at least dialed in a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect here, but it needs to be dialed in for recovery. And, you know, in the case of your quadriceps being so tight, I mean, mountain biking is such a quad dominant sport, right? And rightly so. You're digging in when you're, you know, climbing hills. You got to keep tension still there on your downhills, and then you've got to use that as well to help with your momentum in your jumps and your landings. And so it's so full body. I mean, I think mountain biking is so amazing because it takes everything. I mean, it's so core and leg dominant, which are your biggest muscle groups in your body, and then you also need your, you know, posture, your mid-back, your arms, your neck. I mean, everything has to be really used and utilized. So mobility and stability are very important when it comes to preventing injuries, but also in performance. And I know that we talked after your first race up in, I think it was Chattanooga.
It was Oak Mountain in Pelham, Alabama.
Yeah. And you were just really, the main goal was, hey, let's finish. And then let's get a baseline for your time.
Right.
And so now, if we start moving forward, and you're saying, okay, what can I do to shave some more seconds off of my time in a competition? You really have to look, and this is not just mountain biking. This can be across all sports. But more specific for mountain biking, you just have to look at what is your preparation look like? What does your warm up look like? What does your gear look like? Are you wearing compressive tights or leggings or whatever that are going to help facilitate more movement in your muscle and keep them organized? So I think I think it's so important to have everything kind of at its highest level, and because you need output, and so your body has to be moving on all gears at all times, really in harmony. So as far as chiropractic, to kind of tie it back in, that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. Is I'm assessing the structure, the alignment. I'm checking muscle tension. And I'm just following up with their patient on, how are they doing on their home care, and how are they doing with their nutrition, and can I, again, like you said, making some small minor adjustments, like, hey, are you taking a fish oil? No? Well, great, let's get on that, because fish oil is going to be fantastic for joint lubrication, fighting inflammation, and so little things like that. I think, if we're not moving mountains, but we just need to make small, simple changes to really make big impacts.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love it about so much, is that even, it's like I could have easily just taken some ibuprofen or whatever and just kind of get through it, but it doesn't have to be that. It's changing just little things about your routine. I was already doing the back roller, so just adding that to my thighs is not a big deal. Just a couple extra minutes, after a ride. So I think those things are so beneficial, and that's what I hope that people are going to get out of this video, is that they see that chiropractic is not just fixing pain. It's also getting to a point where it's a routine, so that you just always feel good on the bike. And so that way, when things happen, your body's actually better prepared for it. I think, right? When you say that when you're fine-tuned.
100%. I think it goes back to if you want to make an analogy, okay, it's like a race car, and so if you're out there and you're running that race and you're pedal to the metal, running that car as hard as you can, at some point you've got to pit, and you've got to come in, and they've got to get you some new stuff, like new tires, more gas, maybe make a little adjustment here or there on the throttle, all these little things. But the fact is, you have to come in and do something about it, right? And just like your car, and I know this has probably been used so many times, but I think it makes sense. You wouldn't run your regular car out on the street until the engine light came on and it blew up. You would get periodic maintenance done to extend the life of the vehicle, maintain proper performance. In other words, you don't want to be driving and break down on the side of the road. And so all these things play into it, and your body's the same way. Yes, you can take a over-the-counter ibuprofen. Yes, it may help with the pain, but did it really do anything to heal the body? Did it do anything to maybe prevent this from coming back again? Are you taking it on a day-to-day basis, right? And then you're just going out for a ride, you're not feeling symptoms because you took something, and then, well, you get back, it wears off, and now you're hurting twice as much.
Right.
So yeah, I think you're absolutely correct in the fact that proper maintenance in anything, especially our body, when you're going through a very intense and challenging sport like mountain biking. It's really important, and I think you've seen it. Obviously, you've seen the importance of it, and it's helped you tremendously. And so yeah, I'm so glad that we could kind of have this chat and go through all these really, I think, important points for any of your listeners.
Well, yeah. So you talked about some preventative stuff. I think this we could do. Maybe you could show a couple exercises.
Yeah.
That we could do, and just so give everybody. We talk about all this stuff, but maybe someone's ready. Okay, what can I do to help prepare? Maybe some exercises I can do to not only just prepare for a ride, but also maybe some exercises to kind of feel like where I'm at. And some things that maybe I could feel like, oh, I need to, that's not working right, or things like that.
Kind of like a self-assessment in a way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do some exercises.
Yeah.
All right.
So typically when we're talking about going out to mountain bike, again, you made a good point when we were talking about maybe you do some of this before you get to the trail. Okay, maybe you're not going to have the space or the time or the ability to do it when you get there. So one of the things you may want to do before you come would be foam roll. Okay. So these are going to be good into the quads, the hamstrings, okay, because these are the two biggest muscle groups that you're going to be utilizing.
Right.
So when we do the quad, you'll be obviously going to the front part of this leg, and just kind of hold yourself on your forearms, and you're just going to be going back and forth like this.
Okay.
And typically, a good 45 seconds to a minute will be what you want to do. If you find a spot that's extra tender, then you'll hold it, and you'll want to just pull the heel back towards the buttock, and that will work out that knot. Same thing here with the hamstring, is we'll go this way, and we'll just work it back and forth.
So if you feel the knot, don't roll it, just lift your leg?
Yeah, so when we get to the hamstring, we feel a knot. It's kind of hard to curl at this point. We just put the pressure down. We just hold the pressure there.
Okay.
And so that would be a good thing to do with that.
Okay.
So then as far as doing warm-ups, when we get to the trail, I like to do a dynamic warm-up, something to get the blood flowing, especially if you've been in the car for a while. Okay, so I like to do some walking high pulls is what I call them.
Okay.
So you'll just take a step, grab the knee, pull it up, walk, pull it up, and this is just going to loosen you up.
Okay.
If you can also hang on to maybe the car or tailgate or something, and we just want to swing the legs back and forth. So imagine I'm holding on to something. We're trying to open up our groin muscles.
Right there.
Pretty important.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to open up our hip stabilizers here. So we're just going back and forth, and then also front and back for hamstring and hip flexor. So
now, how much of a swing should we do? I mean, is it just just a natural swing and then naturally just want to stop, or should we push it a little bit more?
Yeah, you'll kind of know. Like everyone's a little different. So if you've been doing a lot of prep and you're, really been riding hard, so you're a little sore maybe this week, you can just judge it on your own.
Okay.
But typically, once you kind of work, you'll kind of start slow, small. But then you can really get to where you're opening and pretty wide.
Right.
As long as you feel a good stretch.
Right.
Same thing going front, back. You just want to feel a good open stretch.
Okay. And do that for how long?
So usually I'd say about 10 reps.
Okay.
Okay, with swing. So this is 1.
Right.
2.
Okay.
This would be 1, 2.
Okay.
So just doing like 10 reps.
Okay.
In both directions, both legs.
Okay.
Okay, so that's something easy to do. Now something for here, because we can't forget about the neck and shoulders, gripping and holding on, right?
Yep.
The classic one for the grip,
Yep.
lock the elbow, pull it back, just get a good forearm stretch, and then we do the same thing, pulling down to get the top part of the forearm. And then I like to add one in for the thenar pad, because you're going to be gripping.
Right.
And I like to, again, come back here, come underneath, and pull the thumb back and down.
Back and down.
While we spread the fingers down.
Okay.
And this is going to be a good, this is called your thenar pad. We're going to get a good stretch on that thumb because we're always going to be gripping, okay? So we start here, we work into this, then we into the shoulders. It's very easy. We just do small circles. So basically, we start small, going clockwise, then we go counterclockwise 10 times. Just think 10 reps is easy to do, easy to remember. And then we go big, clockwise. And then we go 10 counterclockwise, going big. And this is just to loosen up your shoulder joints, your shoulder blades, even into your neck.
Ooh, I'm feeling that.
Yeah, you get a little
I
burn.
rode yesterday a little bit, but yeah.
So you get a little bit of a burn in there, and that burn is good because you're getting some blood in there, right?
Okay.
Some blood flow.
Yeah.
And that's why I like a good dynamic stretch
Okay.
as a pre-exercise or pre-ride stretching.
Okay.
You want,
Right.
you're trying to wake the muscles up.
Right.
You're trying to get some blood flow in.
Okay.
The best way to do that is dynamic movement.
Okay.
So then we go to the neck and shoulder blades, and I like to, whatever side you're stretching is the arm goes behind you, okay?
Literally. Okay.
So for example, I'm gonna be stretching my left side.
Okay.
I'm anchoring my left arm behind me,
Okay.
And then I'm going to always go away, and we're going to do about 10 times moving away. This is for your upper trapezius. If you want to give it a little extra, just get to the end range and just kind of tap it.
But don't hold it. You just.
Yeah, you don't have to hold it necessarily. Again, pre-ride, pre-stretch.
Right.
I like more of a movement.
Okay.
Now, if you have something like this, which you can get on Amazon, Theracane, you can maybe throw this in the back, along with your foam roller or something.
Right.
But this is something that travels easily. You can do the same thing where you can maybe push into some knots. If you already know you've got some really deep knots and you know that you've been having some symptoms, down your arms and hands while you're riding.
Okay.
This is something maybe you take with you to the trail, to the trailhead, and then you're just pushing in, finding that knot, and this is going to be very sensitive and tender, and that's okay. But same thing, we'll push in and we'll work our range of motion like this.
Okay.
And this is just for a deeper movement.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. And then as far as the mid back, we're going to be hunched over a lot.
Right.
So what I like to do is get more extension. So when I think of extension, we want to think of shoulders back and upright. Okay. So a good thing to do is glue the elbows in. So just keep them firm against your rib cage. And then we're going to open the arms out slightly, and we're just going to pull and pinch the shoulder blades together, hold it for a couple seconds, and then release. And we're going to do that about 10 times as well. And that's just going to be good for posture while we're riding.
Okay.
So if we can warm up that mid-back, warm up those shoulder blades, it's going to keep us with the ability to keep ourselves back a little bit.
Right.
And we're not closing down on those nerve roots for the hands.
Okay.
So those could be really good as a pre-stretch routine. So just to recap, at home, you got your foam roller that you can do. When you get to the trail head, you can work on doing some dynamic or ballistic movements to open up the thighs, the hip flexors, and the hamstrings even more. Then we have our forearms here that we're going to work on, in our grip, and then we're going to do our shoulders, and we're going to do our neck, and then we're going to do our mid back, and that kind of hits everything
you need to know
that you're going to, just a kind of a quick and dirty get in. You got 10 minutes. You're running a little late.
Right, yeah, which we all are every now and then.
So maybe you just kind of also self-assess, where you're at.
Right.
Where are you feeling the source, the tightest? Maybe you're feeling pretty good in your shoulders, but a little more tight in your forearms or your neck.
Right.
You spend a little more time there.
Okay.
Same thing with your, lower body and trunk. maybe a little tight, a little sore.
Okay.
You know, coming off the holidays, we've all kind of probably slowed down.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
So we may not be feeling as mobile
Yep.
as we were maybe before the holidays when we were in the grind,
groove.
in the groove. So you know, it's just going to take you a little bit to work through this, and obviously with anything, practice and consistency
Right.
is where you really see your results.
Now, is there anything that during that prep that if you feel something that might be an indicator of maybe I shouldn't ride, or maybe there's a problem?
Yeah,
going on?
that's a good point too, right? So even using this to judge, is there maybe a nagging injury? Is there maybe some tendonitis or some bursitis or inflammation forming? A good indicator would just be pain.
Okay.
Pain in general.
Okay.
There should be a very distinct difference between soreness and pain.
Right.
Okay. And in our office, we like to call it the ooh versus the ouch.
Right.
And so if you're doing a stretch, you feel tight, you feel sore, it's like, ooh, that's good.
Right.
And it may feel uncomfortable, but it should not be painful. And so when we say the ouch, that would be like I'm performing, let's say maybe a move where I'm stretching and I'm feeling every time I do this a sharp pinching pain, searing, burning pain, to where if I feel like I keep doing it, it's going to get worse.
Okay.
And so if you experience any kind of pain, then I would say, you know what, I'm probably just not going to ride today, or maybe I'm going to take it easy. Maybe there's some different things you can work on. If you going into the trail thought you were going to go for like a time trial and try to beat something, maybe you just say, I'm going to focus on mechanics or landing certain things a certain way. So you just want to kind of scale it back on your intensity that day.
Right.
And then obviously if it continues, come get checked out, or go get checked out with a chiropractor near you. So
yeah, excellent.
Yeah. Now post-exercise, post-ride, one of the best and easiest things you can do before you get back in your car is to do some of the pre-stretch again as a cool down.
Okay.
Specifically the ones where we're doing this and this.
Right.
But now that your body's warm and loose, we can get in and do more static stretching.
Okay.
Static stretching would be like a good, keep the feet wide.
Right.
We're just going to go down and maybe we do not a big bounce, but we're just going to try to touch here and touch behind.
Okay.
Touch here, touch behind. Like this.
Okay.
We can do something here as a side lunge for the groin.
Right.
Same thing here. We can do ones for the calf where we can maybe get up against, our vehicle.
Right.
And we're going to stretch here.
Okay.
For the gastroc. And then there's another calf muscle that everybody forgets about called the soleus. And it sits underneath. And to do that one, we bring the feet closer together and we try to push the knee into the floor.
Okay.
And we get a deeper stretch in that calf.
Okay. Yeah, I feel that.
And it also helps with the Achilles tendon. So,
right.
So then you would do more static stretching, things like that. You could come in and stretch your shoulder like this, stretch the neck, and then this is where you could really hold it.
Hold it, yeah.
And to do a good stretch in your mid-back, cross the arms like this.
Okay.
And then push out, and then put your chin down to your chest. And you should get a good stretch all through the middle of those shoulder blades.
Yeah.
So pre-exercise, we want to warm it up.
Right.
Post-exercise, post-ride, we're already loose. We just want to stretch, kind of lengthen those muscles out a little bit because they got overworked.
Right.
And we want to make sure that lactic acid has a chance to clear out.
Right.
Okay. If you get home still sore, so it's understandable, especially after I watched your enduro. I know personally, I don't know if I'd be able to walk for a couple days, but that was very intense, and wow. I mean,
that was 20 miles.
That's something else.
Total.
I mean,
So yeah, it's crazy.
And that's awesome, right? And I you know, I want people to do that if they can do that, right? If that's what they want to do, is one of their goals.
Right.
So just know that you have to do some of these proper steps in order to keep your body running. Because if you were training and doing enduros like every quarter, every couple months, that's a lot on your body.
Right.
And if you're not maintaining it, it's just like a car. It will break down, just like your bike. It will break down.
Yeah.
So, you know, getting home, if you're still sore, good hot bath with some Epsom salt will really help get some of that out. And then maybe work on the foam roller a little bit more. And, you know, definitely want to, you know, follow up, get adjustments with your chiropractor, again, to help set the joints, keep the joints moving, keep the nerves not irritated, and keep them free, keep the muscles loose, and getting massage. Even, you know, I'm a big advocate of massage therapy as well, in conjunction with adjustments. So, but yeah.
You know, if you've been following me, you know that, you know, I have been struggling with hand numbness. I'm testing out different things between different techniques with riding position. I will say, at the time of this recording, I've already tried the armband, and I will say that's helped tremendously.
Good.
I only got one though, so now my other hand starts going numb. And so I've already got a second one on order, because I think that's really helping.
The compression sleeve.
The compression sleeves. And I'm trying different bars as well. You know, I'm now trying 1-up carbon bars to see if that gives me a little bit more flex than the aluminum. But I can't stress enough that, you know, getting adjusted has been tremendous. I feel great on the bike. I never have any problems. Of course, I'm you know, getting the usual soreness after a trail, but doing these techniques really help. The foam roller has been a life changer. And so that was something that Dr. Kyle recommended, and as well as definitely warm bath. After that enduro I did, it was, as soon as I got home, I had that warm bath going, Epsom salts, and it was funny because the next morning, you know, I was talking to some of the guys I rode with, and they were like texting me going, "Oh, I'm destroyed. I'm so sore. I can't even walk." And I was fine. I mean, I still had soreness, but I was able to walk around, move around. I was way more in flex, and more. My muscles felt more pliable than I thought they would. I thought I'd be stiff, and I'd be, you know, having a hard time trying to walk. But I will say, just all these techniques totally work, and even today, you know, learning new stuff just today on some of these stretches. Definitely the pre-ride stuff, it's hard. It's hard. Like you said, you get there, you got the guys waiting, you're ready to jump in and ride, but it is very important to make sure you do those, because it may not matter during the ride, it's going to matter after.
The consistency is the key. I think if you get into the pattern of doing it and you get into the habit, then you form the routine, and then that's just part of what you do, you know, and maybe you get there, you just have to leave earlier to get there earlier to do it, and I know life happens, and that you're going to have those. But yeah, exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head. This is, you want to do these before your rides to help you after your rides.
Yeah, exactly, because you do feel it. You definitely feel it. So, well, Dr. Kyle Webb, I really appreciate your time that you've been taking. I hope you guys have gained some valuable information. And until the next video, stay safe, keep on riding.
What if we go tractor tipping? How about some tractor tipping? What's wrong with that? Tractor tipping. Alright, where's some tractors? Where are the tractors? Where are the tractors? I don't see any tractors. Where'd they go? Right where? Oh, okay. See ya.